Hola, hola! Welcome to the Breakthrough Brand Show. I'm Fabi Paolini, and my mission on this podcast is to give you the behind-the-scenes stories, anecdotes, and unique perspectives behind building a premium brand that makes a real impact. I believe that when you create a message that is aligned with your truth, you can have the breakthroughs that changes lives. Each week, me and my guests share with you how we're making an impact with our message and the stories behind our success. So that being said, let's dive into today's episode. I'm so excited today to welcome Chris Prefontaine, who is a 4-time bestselling author of Real Estate on Your Own Terms, The New Rules of Real Estate Investing, Sell with Authority, just all great real estate investing stuff. And I'm really excited to talk to him about all of that today. He's also founder of Wicked Smart Companies, as you can see from his t-shirt, host of the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast, all the things. Welcome, Chris. So excited to have you here today.
Thanks a bunch. I'm glad you had me, and hopefully we can talk about some good nuggets for your audience.
Yes, please. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about what you do in your own words.
Yeah. So I won't go back 32 years. It's my 32nd year in real estate, but 10,000 foot view. So my family and I, it's mainly my son, Nick, and my son-in-law, Zach. Now we buy and sell real estate throughout New England, but we do so without using banks, without signing personally, without using gobs of our own cash, very little to no cash. And that was all a result of the crash of 2008. It just made me re-engineer everything to not go back there again. And then we help people in the field doing the same exact thing all over the country, literally East Coast to West Coast. So we get in the trenches, roll up our sleeves, and do deals with them. Best way to learn, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm really curious because I want to understand a little bit more about how this process works and kind of, just tell me, I guess, a little bit more about the behind the scenes of the process and some of the things that you focus on in terms of real estate investing.
We only do deals. So to accomplish what I said, we only do deals that are one of 3 types. And I don't want to get too in the weeds, and I can peel back whatever you want. One is owner financing. That's a lot of people can relate to that. That means I'm going to buy a property. I'm not using a bank. I'm going to make payments monthly to the seller. That's owner financing in its simplest form. We tend to look for deals that are no mortgages on them, free and clear, we call it. And there's about 1/3 of the properties in the United States that are free and clear. The second way is a lease purchase. Very simple. Lease purchase, you're going to put a $10 deposit up to control a property. Could be $1 million, could be 200 grand, but you're going to spend $10 to control that property. And then the third way is called subject to existing financing. That means someone, unlike the free and clear person who's debt free, that this subject to deals means I'm buying someone's home subject to their loan staying in place, and they stay as the guarantor. So I never go on a bank loan. And as you can imagine, it's more for people that are saying, okay, I'm hurting financially or I need relief and just like get this done. So 2 different types of avatar there, as I talked about those 3 ways, but that's how we buy.
That's super interesting. Well, tell me why real estate investing is a smart move, especially in recession markets or even without recession markets. Why is real estate investing the way to go?
Well, so generally speaking, if you would ask me just general real estate, I think if you look historically over a 10-year period, any 10-year look back, and you would have done well in real estate. However, there's one constant in real estate, and that it constantly changes. Like I've been, again, 32nd year, I've been through 3 or 4 cycles. So then your skin gets a little thicker. You grow used to change. And so if we know it's going to change constantly, then why not get good at, in my world, creative real estate, so you can pivot with any market. I go crazy when I hear someone say, "Oh, I'm going to wait till the market's back. Or I'm going to wait till the bottom." Nobody knows. Like the billionaires don't know. So stop trying to time it. And just get really good at creating deals in any market. And that's what we created coming out of the crash.
That makes sense. Absolutely. So who do you feel is like the ideal person to start doing some of this work?
I can tell you who our avatar, who does very well in our community, in no particular order. So there's a big influx now from W-2. We call it helping them escape their W-2.
I like that.
There's like 5, 6, a couple 7-figure earners that said, you know what, Chris, I'm just tired of it. I don't want to run that treadmill anymore. So we show them how to transition into their own real estate business, create a lifestyle, create kind of like that CEO role. So they're not feeling like they're just on a treadmill. That's a biggie. Second one is people tend to flock to us that like family businesses or always wanted a family business or witnessed a family business growing up, because we're pretty family business and we're tight community. the Wicked Smart community, very tight. Like they treat each other like family. So that's a big one. The second one is podcasts, believe it or not. People that listen to like your show or my show tend to be, you don't sit on a show for 15 to 60 minutes if you're not an avid learner. So when I go on shows, it tends to be a big draw for people because they're into education. And so they tend to come into our ecosphere too. So that's just a few of the sort of the avatar.
So what is tell me a little bit more about like the Wicked Smart company, I guess, or your program and how it works. I'm a bit curious to learn about what that process looks like for you.
The actual program, like for students and how they operate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so coming out of the crash, one of the things I noticed is, and frustratingly, there's a lot of good marketers, right? Like they know how to market you. So you're on whatever you're on for social media or TV, and you see these ads, get rich tomorrow, they're always get rich quick. And it's a little ridiculous because there's nothing that I know of in any niche in real estate. And if there was, I'd know by now. That is a get rich quick. So we got real passionate about helping people do deals versus sell them something. So like even to your listeners, we'll give a free book away. The YouTube stuff is 200 deals out there. Like learn what niche gets you excited free. And then the second piece of this is, once someone goes to a seminar or buys something because they were marketed to, they get a little disheartened because then the real deal happens. They're in the field and nobody's helping them. So our program lends itself to, yes, learn the skill set, but then let us lock arms with you and do deals with you. We call it our associate program. So we have people all over the country, as I alluded to, who we literally will get on the phone, critique their calls, call their sellers and buyers with them so that they're feeling like they have a support mechanism, the whole deal. And that's just not done out there. And so as the market's changing right now and more deals have to be done creatively because the banks are getting tighter, we have large communities of flippers, the rehab people and wholesalers that are coming to us going, hey, can you show us how to do creative real estate? Because we heard you actually do the deals and not just sell a product. So that's how we differ. And that's what we do in the field.
That's amazing. That's so powerful. It's interesting what you brought up because with the instant gratification world that we live in, where people are like, how do I make money yesterday? Like I call it millionaire by Monday, right? These coaches, programs, whatever, marketers that are selling, you work with me, we'll do this one thing, this one funnel, you're going to be a millionaire by Monday. And I know very well from experience that usually is not the case. No, it can happen, but that's usually the exception, 100% to the rule, right? So how do you work in terms of your own brand message to overcome that objection? Because with real estate, it's not going to be immediate, right? And that's the beauty of it. But how do you work that into your message?
Yeah. And by the way, this is a good branding question. And by the way, let me just say something about what you said was interesting, because some people do luck out, right? And they get a deal quickly. Like there's been people that do a deal in 32 days with us, but that's not the norm. The norm is 4 to 6 months, and some people take a year. But anyway, so on the branding, most of our branding is done with respect to family, with respect to being in the trenches. We call it. A lot of our materials see that, because that's what, as I alluded to earlier, that's what they're missing. That they go to a seminar and they go out in the real world like, wow, they're shell shocked because they don't realize all these things. I'm in my book and in my events and when I'm coaching, I tell them what's going to go wrong, to the point of some mentors, the competitors going, what are you doing that for? Are you going to scare them away? I said, no, I'm going to equip them. So all our branding is around that, like real deals in the trenches, case studies versus theory and product, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So one of the things that we really focus on in the work that we do, or that I do, is teaching people to speak to the ready to invest client, right? Versus, and kind of the way that we do this is by, in a case like yours, for example, is to speak to the people who have that long-term vision, who don't have they're not in despair and that level of lack that they're like, no, I need money tomorrow, because that's not your client. Your client is the person that has a long-term vision, that they're like, I understand that real estate investing is not going to be something to make me rich this month, but I know that as I accumulate and I do more deals and I grow my business, it's going to, in the next, however long, it's going to get me set up for my life, basically, right? So what we find is that speaking to that type of people is the result. So what you're doing with telling them some of the challenges that they're going to face is actually going to work for you, because the people that are serious know that that's the truth. Like they know that the truth is that there are going to be challenges, period. And what we want to do is, prepare them and give them the knowledge. And that's probably the reason why you're attracting these types of people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a couple of things came to mind when you were saying that. One is our mission, we ended a 5-year mission. We restarted our next 3 and we're public with it. So it becomes part of the brand. And that is to help the serious and committed, very particularly there you said it, the serious and committed real estate investor or wannabe transform their life. It's not about doing a deal. Anybody can go learn how to do a deal, frankly, in time, but it's about transforming their life. Because there's a reason people come in the community and some do a deal in 30 days and some 365. It's all mental and it's all that conditioning that takes time. So yeah, 100%. And we scream about that. And we also will, in all the messaging, in one of my web pages, I know it's out there still. It says, if you need money, like you need water or oxygen tomorrow, this isn't for you. Go fix that first.
Exactly.
Come on, boy. And you kind of said the same thing, a little bit nicer.
Right. Is there, and I know you kind of talked about the different creative ideas to do this, but is there a set amount of cash flow that somebody should have in place for this, like to kind of set aside for this moving forward, or not necessarily? I mean, I guess it would depend on the properties maybe, but is there anything like that? Yeah,
kind of 2 answers to that. Because to buy the property, like you can put a home on the lease purchase, I said, for $10. Okay, so you don't need it there if you can hustle. Mm-hmm. Do you need it? Probably, to get yourself a little more education than we offer for free. Yeah.
Obviously. Right.
So, the free would be, hey, I went through Chris's books and I went to YouTube and yeah, this is not for me. Okay, fine. Go seek out something else for free. But if it is for you, then you might want to jump into the basic course and things like that. So do you need cash flow? No. Should you set yourself up to have a little bit of money for, like, if you're going to grow a business? Yeah. $400 to $600 a month. It's going to cost you to launch this. Believe it or not, it's not that much.
Wow, that's crazy.
But should you have all your own budget for personally solved? Should you have your cash flow solved? Yeah, you shouldn't be needing the next deal. You'll be ecstatic when you find out how much you can make with it, but don't make it like I need it in 30 days.
That makes sense. So I guess the other question that I have for you is, I want to know a little bit about, now this is like a little bit of my own curiosity because of the work that I do, kind of how your brand has evolved, because now I'm looking at what you're doing and what you're saying. And it seems to me like you have a lot of clarity on your message and you have a lot of clarity on who your audience is and what you're doing and your offer. But I'm curious to learn a little bit about how, like, what that process has been like for you. Did you, when you launched this business, immediately invest in getting brand and messaging and marketing in place? Or was it something that you discovered along the way? I want to hear a little bit of that.
No, it's a good question, because I never, as a solopreneur, all the way up till literally, I think like 2010 or 12. So I started in 91 to age myself. But in 2012, I started saying, okay, the kids were old enough to come in the business. And then I started realizing we actually have a brand. Like it was just all me hustling. So if there's any solopreneurs out there, that's a tough trail. I was on a treadmill, but I didn't know it. So then in around 18, we hired our first person to start rebranding everything. And that goes for YouTube and the logo, everything got redone. That might be a little late on that. Somewhere in there, 16, 17, or 18, we rebranded everything. And that was a hard thing for me to swallow because I didn't want to spend 10 cents on it because I never did it before. And then was it important? Yeah, it was ridiculously important, because then since that day, we've, put out 3 YouTube videos a week, never, failed from that. We've rebranded the Wicked Smart and the Smart Real Estate Coach. Like, everything got done because we took that first step. I think it's huge. So when I saw us coming on your show, I was like, this is perfect, because people need to know that they should probably go that route a little bit earlier. Than I took a long time to get there. Yeah,
I think that you were pretty wicked smart with doing it.
not originally.
So actually, you know what? Tell me a little bit about that process as well. I think that our listeners would be really interested in knowing too, of what you focus on in marketing. You mentioned YouTube. Is that one of your main sources of client acquisition that you focus on currently? I'm guessing podcasting is as well, but.
Yeah, actually, so prior to 18, the way the business started, like literally our first email we call an affiliate. So someone that had a list that, to your point earlier, that we knew if we sent an email piece that was good content,
right,
that was speaking to the right people. And that was a virtual assistant company that serviced real estate investors.
Okay.
And she asked me to do an email. So I did a little ebook and we sent the email out. I didn't know what happened. That was the first branding thing. The book was called Eat That Sandwich for Sandwich Lisa's. So it had a little curiosity to it.
Okay.
We sent that out. We had 300 some odd opt-ins. And again, we had no business yet for coaching. We were just doing deals.
Okay.
And so that from 2014 to that first sort of branding message, I think we did 14 grand in sales that year. This year we'll surpass 5 million, and we've been on Inc. 5,000 for like the last 3 years.
Amazing.
So but it didn't all come at once. So it was email with affiliates. That was an easy way, if you're listening, an easy way to start your branding for almost nothing, because you can swap emails to each other's database.
Exactly.
And after that, I think certainly it was redoing some Facebook and other social media. I'm not on there, but the team is. It was redoing some of those pages for the right branding. And then it was that the company we hired to come in and kind of redo everything. And then from that point on, I hired a media / videographer, media manager, videographer. He became the CMO eventually, but he was all about the branding. But, it was just me. None of this could take place. So it kind of stair-stepped up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I love it. That's amazing. That's so powerful. And I just find so much value in hearing your story of how you built success and kind of that mindset. Yeah, it's just really interesting. Okay, so last question that I have for you is kind of a little bit of a change in gear, but I always like asking this because I feel like what I didn't know when I became an entrepreneur was how much of let me say this politely, just how tough mentally it can be, right? The challenges that we face. And for me, mindset and personal development work have been really, really important in building my own success. I'm curious to hear how that has played a part in your success, because I'm sure you've faced many obstacles over the years. How mindset work and focus and having that, like, nope, this is that certainty, this is going to work and we're moving forward. How has that played a part in your own success?
It's a lot. It's huge. It's a lot bigger than anyone thinks coming into entrepreneurship. And that's why someone does a deal in 30 days and others take 365, because entrepreneurship's not easy.
Yeah.
I was talking to we have an accountability partner, and I'll go back to your question. And I do. And he said to me recently, he goes, it's hard. Now he's been in business for a long time. And he runs an agency, but he said, it's hard to build. I said, yeah. So people don't understand that. And most of that is mental. When I had Brian Tracy on my podcast, who's in his 80s now, I said, how much do you think the mental takes place in the whole realm of things, given 100% of the part? He said, all of it. Skill set, you can learn it. System, someone can, but mindset is something it's a learning. But here's what I think is important for you and I and other business owners. You can improve that, or strengthen that, I should say, by getting around the right people. That, in my opinion, because when I went to the crash, it took me 4 years. It should have taken me 4 months, but it took me 4 years to get out of my own head that, okay, it's not me. I just need to tweak what I did. It was the market that happened. So why did it take that long? I wasn't around the right people until mentors started saying to me, no, Chris, I've been through it a lot worse. Here's how you get through it. And you just mentally grow through that. The scary part is, we will only grow, you and I and any other entrepreneur, as far as we can get right here.
Yeah.
It's actually scary, because you think of for the years how small you probably thought before you grew, right? All of us. I don't know if that's making sense. Some people think it's kind of foo-foo, but it's more than anyone thinks. It's all mental.
100%. It is such a mental game. And it's so funny. I was just randomly, my husband loves soccer, or football, how we call it in Spanish, right? The whole discussion with football, whatever. Anyways, and we were just randomly, this weekend, there was a game between Manchester United and Liverpool. I don't know, whatever, but it was like 6-0, right? Like, and I was telling him how crazy that these are, from what I understand, like the biggest, or one of the biggest teams in England. So there's no doubt that these guys have the same type of skill set. They have probably similar strategies. Physically, they're in shape, they're ready, and one team can goal the other, like 6 goals versus 0. It's all brain, like it's all mindset. Like you could see that in a result like this. It's all mindset, and it's in everything that every single one of us is doing. And that's why, like you said, surrounding yourself with the right people, having the conversations with some, like, just getting those different perspectives, somebody from the outside telling you, oh, wait, this is 100% normal. You're good. It's fine. You'll overcome this. This is just a net. Like, it's normal. And sometimes just getting that is so powerful. So yes, I appreciate that a ton.
Yeah. And I think the way to do that, in my opinion, I like your opinion on this, but the way to do that is find someone that's been where you want to be, where you want to go, and then put blinders on for at least, in my opinion, at least 36 months or so, and don't deviate. Like, no shiny objects. No, you just trust it with blind faith. As I say, wipe the whiteboard clean and go do that. That's why, you mentioned soccer or football, the golf this past weekend. If you watch the golf, that they're missing 2 and 3 foot putts in the heat of the moment. Why? It's all mental. It's nothing to do with their skill. They've done it a million times. If you want a cool book, I just finished it. One of my students gave it to me. It's called 12-Hour Walk.
Okay.
The gentleman that wrote it, it's about you taking a 12-hour walk for mental growth, and no phones, no nothing, by yourself, 12 hours.
Woo.
But the guy who wrote that has some amazing things he's done physically and mentally that I think is a great ad for anyone to listen to. Side note, I just finished it and thought I'd mention it.
I'll look it up. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Tell us, where can people find you? What do you have? I know you have a book, you have so much stuff. So just go ahead. Go ahead.
So for the books, I want to give everyone a couple of free books, the best sellers, but it's not, hey, it's free, and then you got to put in a card for shipping. No shipping, no nothing. We'll ship it. Just go to wickedsmartbooks.com / I'm going to spell it to make sure I don't pronounce it incorrectly. Your first name, Fabi, Fabi.
Perfect.
Okay. So that everybody can get that now. If they can deal with my New England accent and my speed, and they want a free class, I have a free master's class. It's online. Just go watch it. Nobody's going to be bugging you. It's a replay. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com / master's class. And that way you at your own pace can go through that. And if it's those free things get you excited, let's chat. And if not, it's okay.
I love it. I definitely want to chat with you because this is super interesting. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for being here. I'll add everything in the show notes anyway, so that people can find you and sign up for the books and all of the things. And thank you so much for being here, Chris.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Gracias for listening to today's episode of the Breakthrough Brand Show. To listen to more episodes or to be featured as a guest, go to fabipaolini.com /podcast for more details. Can I ask you for something? If you got value out of this episode, would you share it on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend, or just post it online. If you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let me know about the show and include the hashtag Breakthrough Brand Show. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We're regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure that you don't miss any episode, go ahead and subscribe right now. Your thumbs up, rating, amor, love, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean so much to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, fabipaolini.com, or follow me everywhere as Fabi Paolini. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Con amor, Fabi.